Overnight, Israel reportedly launched a narrow airstrike against Iran. Israel targeted an Iranian airbase and fired 3 ballistic missiles in its retaliation for Iran's drone attack on Israel earlier this month. Iran fired its air defense systems in response to the attack and intercepted some of the missiles, but Iran downplayed any damage and said it's limited to a few broken windows. U.S. officials say that they were given a heads up that Israel was planning a strike in the coming days, but were not involved.
That the United States has not been involved in any offensive operations. What we're focused on, what the G7 is focused on, and again, it's reflected in our statement and in our conversation, is our work to de-escalate tensions.
The U.S. and European Union leaders are launching a new set of sanctions now on Iran's military leaders and weapons makers in retaliation for the drone strike on Israel. The sanctions targeting Iran's missile and drone programs, along with entities connected to Iran's defense ministry.
As the crisis in the Middle East intensifies, the U.S. House of Representatives moves one step closer to approving billions of dollars in foreign aid. Mike Johnson forging ahead despite the risk to his speakership. Representative Sean Casten joining us live to discuss the progress and potential fallout. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
Just a quick review for folks. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, his plan was to break up the foreign aid package into individual bills, allowing you to be able to vote on for or against Ukraine separately from aid to Israel and Taiwan, including a TikTok bill. But it isn't sitting well with some of the conservatives in your group, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie. Is this creating chaos, and could the speaker find himself losing his gig?
I think we're all learning more about parliamentary procedure in the House than we ever necessarily wanted to. So, I mean, today was really unusual. Number one, let's be clear, we have got to get aid to Ukraine. We've got to get aid to Israel. We've got to get humanitarian aid to Gaza. And this bill has been sitting in the Senate for a long time. Those bills all have overwhelmingly bipartisan strong support on the floor. But that support is majority from the Democratic Party, which of course is in the minority, and that creates challenges for Speaker Johnson. The rule today to essentially agree on how we're going to vote on procedure did pass with very bipartisan majorities, but majority Democratic, and Speaker Johnson has got his own troubles in his party as a result of that, but I'm glad he did the right thing to make sure we get this aid package through.
Yes, he says he is not stepping down. Could there be a vote tomorrow?
I'll be very disappointed if there isn't. What we voted on today gives us the rules for debate and puts us in a position where we should be voting sometime around noon tomorrow on the 4 separate bills. I have no reason to believe there will be any surprises, but I also thought on Monday I was going to be home last night, so there's surprises. There's surprises afoot every day this week.
A lot of people saying this chaotic turmoil that we're hearing about coming out of D.C. does not bode well for the leadership in Congress.
I mean, look, it's been a challenge. We're on our second speaker. This is the first time in history that we've vacated the speaker in the House. And I think any Republican speaker has a challenge right now because there is a sizable pro-governance, culturally conservative, but pro-governance part of the Republican Party. There also is a part of the Republican Party that's hostile to governance, hostile to Ukraine, hostile to the United States playing a leadership in the world. And I wouldn't want to have Mike Johnson's job. It's a hard group to manage, but I do think we should take some solace in the fact that when these bills come to the floor, they are overwhelmingly bipartisan. And I think that's important for the American people to understand that what we're doing is supported by the majority of members of Congress. It's just procedurally difficult to get it done, given some of the dynamics in the Republican Party right now.
You've been known to reach across the aisle. What would you like to see done right now? And are you for or against Mike Johnson staying in the speakership role?
I mean, look, I have a lot of policy differences with Mike Johnson, obviously. I think we're seeing somebody who has really never had any leadership position in his life before becoming the second in command to the president.
And is that showing now? Do you think that's showing right now?
It's very clear he's learning how to do the job. I think what all of us find is that he's a much more trustworthy fellow than Mr. McCarthy was. When he gives you his word, you have his word. I don't always necessarily agree with his word of what he tries to do, but he's figuring out the job. But I think, we'll see what happens if they make a move to terminate him. I think for right now, the most important thing is to make sure we get this aid package through. You know, if you talk to a Ukrainian, talk to someone in Gaza, talk to someone in Israel, their primary focus is not House parliamentary procedure right now. It's making sure that their allies in the United States help them out.
All right, Representative Sean Casten, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be well.